joyous days following World War II, there was a spirited return to pre-war pastimes, like football. In 1946, the Cleveland Rams moved to Southern California, and the West Coast had a major league sport. Los Angeles had inherited a brilliant quarterback in Bob Waterfield, and later a talented receiver, Tom Fears. By 1949 and 50, owner Dan Reeves' thorough scouting system began to pay dividends. Army's Glenn Davis, number 41, joined with Bob Boyd, Vitamin T. Smith, and Woodley Lewis. But the real find was Norm Van Brocklin, a quarterback from Oregon. That same year, 1949, Reeves obtained number 40, Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch, and suddenly the Los Angeles Rams were the most exciting team in football. Van Brocklin and Waterfield, number 7, divided the quarterbacking duties of the 1950 Rams, a team that broke almost every offensive record possible. Tank Younger and Deacon Dan Towler teamed with number 31, Dick Horner, in the Bull Elephant backfield, but the Rams' trademark was the long touchdown pass and a lot of points. 70 against Baltimore, 65 against Detroit, 40 in just one quarter. But very few people went out to the Coliseum in 1950 to watch this scoring machine. The club experimented by televising all its games, and the fans stayed home to watch. The next season, however, televised home games ended. Thousands who had become enthralled by the Rams on TV now enthusiastically went in person to see the wildest Wild West show of them all. The thrill-a-second 1951 Rams became NFL champions, and in tribute to those early years, the Hall of Fame has recognized Bob Waterfield, Elroy Hirsch, Tom Fears, and owner Dan Reeves, whose vision brought them to Southern California. During the following decade and more, the Rams were in a decline. There were many individual stars, like number 26, John Arnett, Les Richter, and Dick Bass. But the real story in football was of a runner named Jim Brown, a quarterback named Unitas, and a team named the Packers. The Rams played in their shadows until the mid-1960s, when the fire of the early Rams was rekindled. In 1966, George Allen had become head coach, but the rebirth of the Los Angeles Rams was not complete until a young quarterback named Roman Gabriel moved them toward their 25th year in Southern California. Since 1967, the Rams have won 32 games, lost 7, and tied 3. And no one worked harder to achieve this record than their leader, Roman Gabriel, the NFL's Player of the Year. He has taken up where Waterfield and Van Brocklin left off, and done it in a style all his own. He led the league in touchdowns thrown and fewest interceptions. But every bit Gabriel's equal was the Ram defense. through 11 straight victories, it was the defense that terrorized opponents. They cut them down and wore them down until finally sheer frustration led them astray. The Rams opened the season in Baltimore, perhaps the most important game on the schedule. Throughout a typical Ram-Colt grudge match, important questions about the Rams' attack were answered. Many felt that number 34, Les Josephson, could not come back from an Achilles heel operation, but he was as strong as ever. Another unproven factor was rookie running back Larry Smith, but he too quickly dispelled any doubts about the future by gaining over 7 yards a carry against the Colts. The Rams runners put on a typical display, but more typical of the 1969 Rams was the way they pulled themselves out of trouble. The winning rally was often sparked by the defense. Then Gabriel and the offense would end the struggle. The Rams won this one 27-20. Baltimore failed to recover from the loss, while the Rams began a winning streak that would continue for 11 weeks. The Falcons never got off the ground as Merlin Olsen, Deacon Jones, Roger Brown, Dyron Talbert, and Coy Bacon, number 79, dumped quarterback Bob Berry 10 times in a 17-7 win. In the season's third game, the offense took its cue and rolled up the Saints 36-17. Jack Snow, number 84, caught only 3 passes, but all went for touchdowns, and he was off to his finest year. 3 wins in a row, but there was no time to celebrate because they were in San Francisco and they knew anything could happen. The Rams got the first break on an interception by linebacker Jack Pardee, but the San Francisco acrobatics were an indication of their readiness to play. The 49ers were winless, but they had the undefeated Rams struggling to come back. After Billy Truax's touchdown, the Rams still trailed, and the game, like many to follow, would finally be decided by a couple of big plays. The first came on a crucial third down scramble from Gabriel to Larry Smith that kept a drive alive. The second was produced by the league's leading punt returner, Alvin Heyman, number 23. The 38-yard run set up the winning touchdown by Tommy Mason. The Rams had proved that they could also come from behind to win. Five weeks after that first win in Baltimore, Los Angeles met the Green Bay Packers, and despite a good deal of confusion, the outcome was never in doubt. The Ram defense forced enough breaks to give them a 20-0 lead in the second quarter. Now it was Roman Gabriel's turn, and he used the time to set some records. A sharp pass to Wendell Tucker erased Norm Van Brocklin's career completion mark, established over 9 years. It took Gabriel 7.5 years. He also had yet to throw an interception this season, a record that came to a halt in Chicago 1 week later. The Bears had ruined the Rams' title hopes a year ago, and despite ex-teammate Richie Pettibone's efforts, it looked as if they might hand Los Angeles its first loss. Bruce Gossett's 3 field goals were all the points the offense could muster. So now the defense had to make the big play. With a slim 9-7 lead, Maxie Bond set the defense against the short pass, and that put linebacker Doug Woodleaf in perfect position to make a game-saving interception. After the Bears' unsuccessful bid, the Atlanta Falcons tried a new way to stop Gabriel and the Rams. All their efforts proved futile, however, as the game quickly turned into a rout. Number 41, Ron Smith, started the scoring. Reserve quarterback Carl Sweetan and Tommy Mason ended it. And in between, Gabriel and Larry Smith ran wild. Despite the easy 38-6 win, tackle Charlie Cowan was to be injured, and guard Joe Schiavelli was lost for the season, as the Rams appeared ripe for picking in a rematch with the 49ers. But Mitch Johnson and Mike LaHood proved able substitutes, and it was the Rams who did the picking, as they scored on the game's opening play. Wendell Tucker's flashy 93-yard touchdown, longest in the NFL, started the Rams on their way to their highest point total of the season. And before an enthusiastic Los Angeles crowd, the score ballooned to 27-9. Then the rains came, and as the sun disappeared, so did the Rams' lead. San Francisco quarterback John Brody now felt much more at home, and he closed the gap to 4 points in the last quarter. The Rams, remembering the first 49er game, knew they couldn't sit on such a small lead, so Gabriel made no attempt to run out the clock. Tommy Mason weaved his way through a maze of 49ers, and just like that, the Rams were deep in San Francisco territory. From the 9-yard line, Gabriel rolled right and kept right on rolling to the Rams' 8th straight win. In Philadelphia, the Rams prepared to play their first game on artificial turf. Apparently, the warm-ups were not enough, as the Eagles dominated the first half. Fullback Tom Woodishick rambled through one of the best defenses in football for 130 yards. And at the half, they held a surprising 10-0 lead. Coach George Allen now counted on Gabriel to pull them out, and Gabriel, as always, relied on his talented offensive line for help. From left to right were Charlie Cowan, Tom Mack, Ken Iman, Mike LaHood, and Bob Brown. Along with Joe Schiavelli, this line set an all-time NFL record for protecting the quarterback, a record especially appreciated by Gabriel. The Rams were clawing back at the Eagles' lead now, snatching at every possible chance to move ahead. Cornerback Clancy Williams, number 24, raced deep inside Eagle territory with an interception. But the 3 crucial plays of the second half were supplied by safety man Eddie Metter. First, he carried a fake field goal to a first down that set up a score. Then, with an assist from Merlin Olsen, he recovered a fumble that led to 3 points. And finally, after a rush by Olsen, Metter scampered 35 yards with the winning touchdown. After the 17-23 squeaker in Philadelphia, the Rams returned home to face the Dallas Cowboys. And all the Roman Gabriels were ready. The game had been sold out for weeks, and everyone wondered if the Rams could contain the high-flying Cowboys and all their stars. But few foresaw the classic struggle about to take place. For 3 quarters, the two powers battled to a standstill. Now, with time becoming a factor, Dallas began to move the ball through the air. First, it was Bob Hayes, and then it was Lance Rentzel, and quickly, Dallas had scored the go-ahead touchdown. The loyal Ram fans had seen their heroes come from behind before, and now quietly waited for the lightning to strike. The little game breaker Wendell Tucker turned defeat into a 24-23 win, and now the Rams were in a full gallop. As the Rams entered the Coliseum for their 12th game, they were greeted by a brilliant California sun and the Minnesota Vikings with their quarterback, Joe Kapp. The Vikings also had captured their division crown, so this game would be a preview of things to come. As the sun beat down, the Rams couldn't help but ponder the eventual championship rematch with the Vikings in Minnesota. Before the Rams returned to reality, the Vikings had sent them reeling. Los Angeles had suffered its first loss of the year. With the winning streak ended, 2 more losses followed before the Rams traveled to Minnesota for the Western Conference Championship game. It is unlikely that 2 more evenly matched teams could be brought together in a title game. The first half was clearly the Rams, but every inch gained, the Vikings made painful.
Come on, turn around! Keep it going, babies, keep it going! Get in there, baby. 6-yard line, 6-yard line. Come on, Bobby, hit somebody, baby. Get it in there. Oh, get it in, get it in. Take it in, take it in. We got to do it now, All the way, Rams, all the way.
Los Angeles held a 17-7 halftime lead despite missing Maxie Baughan with an injury. The Rams defense made a 3rd quarter interception, a dual effort by Eddie Metter and number 53 Jim Purnell. But the Rams were slowing down and weren't moving the ball. Larry Smith suffered a broken nose, and all the while the dogged Vikings picked away at the Rams' lead. Finally, late in the 4th quarter, they went ahead 21-20, and 1 play later made it 23-20. But the Rams had been in this pressure cooker before, so they set about confidently to get Gabriel the ball one final time.
Deacon, fire him up now. Let's go. Here we go. Come on, baby. Let's go defense.
got their chance with minutes remaining. Trailing by 3 points, they needed a field goal to send the game into overtime, and Gabriel set out to do just that. A screen to Smith moved 7 yards closer, but it was also 4th down. Billy Truex picked up the first down at the Rams' 44. And Larry Smith moved it across midfield. 39 seconds remain. Time enough to get the Rams a few yards closer to that field goal. Despite a superb Ram effort, the Minnesota Vikings were champions. Harboring a tremendous hurt, the Rams took out their frustrations on the Dallas Cowboys in a meaningless playoff game in Miami. For the Rams, the only thing at stake was their pride, and that proved to be tremendous. Lamar Lundy and Dick Bass, number 22, played with youthful abandon, and Roman Gabriel threw 4 incredible touchdowns, 2 of them to Jack Snow. With 31 points on the scoreboard, the defense took over and delivered the Rams' first shutout since 1954. The victory over Dallas was not just another win. It marked the start of a new season. And more than that, it was a tribute to all the Ram victories that had preceded it. For it is out of the past that tradition grew. And from this tradition evolved the pride of the current Los Angeles Rams.